Hey guys, Mike here with Repliquants. It's April 1st, April Fool's Day. Be careful. All right, so let's take a look at the market. Very interesting. I actually was recording an update yesterday, and then we had this huge storm here in Catalonia, and it was just raining cats and dogs and even hailing, and my connection went off. So in the middle of doing a long loom, it all got messed up. The whole recording got corrupted, and it was a joke. And it's really funny because yesterday when I was recording that, we were about here, right? We were still trading up here on Bitcoin, and it was really interesting because I was basically stating the point that we're most likely going to correct further back down, like I suggested a few days ago, by the way, just for the records, right? Just for the record. Let the record show that I predicted that. And then, of course, when I did that, and it even dipped as low as, let's take a look here. Where are we? 44,244. So, dipped back quite a bit. So that's exactly what I anticipated would happen. A retest of this. And this might draw out a little bit. As you can tell, the linear regression line that I use, it's 50 days, nothing complicated, just to kind of see the trend. It is pointing up, so things are positive, but we're going to have to endure this retest. I expected that much. So if you were waiting to buy or to jump into the market on this retest, this is probably it. Yes, it might of course dip lower. There's no guarantees. The session is only like half day in. So we got plenty of time left, and also with the weekend we might drop lower here. Equities have been dropping lower yesterday, and we still have this kind of soft correlation going on. So that's something I'm actually really watching with a hawk's eye. Now, all these lines that you see here, well, here on Bitstamp, right? On my Bitcoin USD chart, I drew this one here on February 7th, I think. That was the date. I think it was around here. Yeah. Was it the 7th? Let me see. It's all covered up. I'm not sure, but I think it was the 7th. Let me go back here. Yep, I was actually the 7th. Yeah, it was the 7th when I drew this. And this is what I've kind of anticipated. So as you can tell, it's been a lot more drawn out. But it's positive because this would have been good. This would have been a good retest. But we've produced a lot more context here, and I've made this point repeatedly in the last few weeks, right? This context is very important, and now that we're retesting is expected to hold up. So here's the good news, and of course, bad news. It's always good news, bad news when it comes to the market. It's always binary. Meaning, the onus now is on the bulls to work this higher, to basically breach this. This is our new acceleration point, actually. You know what I'm gonna set a alert right here. What is it? Bitcoin 48,208. Yeah, good enough, right? If it breaches that point, we're off to the races. So we started pretty well. This is textbook. This breach is textbook. Retest is textbook. So now we have to conclude this, meaning we have to breach again. This is the next hurdle here, and after that, it's most likely if it does breach here, it's just going to blast through this here as well. It's not going to wait much at 50,000. It might bump a little bit, but it's going to go higher. So, assuming that will happen. If not, if we're not succeeding here, if we drop lower and get trapped back in here, then things get really complicated. This might draw out for a few more weeks. We don't want to see that. The bearish potential right now is fairly low, but I wouldn't completely rule it out. I would be foolish to do so. So let's just assume here what happens if we drop all the way down to here. See here the center line. I've drawn this a long time ago. It doesn't have a really very strong meaning. I mean, it's clearly an inflection point because that's where resistance happens over and over again, and once it's overcome, it then serves as support. It serves as support on the way down a little bit. Once it's breached, there's a price to be paid. Recently, it actually has served, and it's kind of interesting, as a center line of this sideways flag here, this triangle, whatever you might want to call it. It's a sideways correction. The churn mode, right? The the haters, right? the time we spent churning around here, the purgatory, as they say. And yeah, it wasn't fun, but this was kind of the center line. So I would actually peg this as far as we should go. So that puts us somewhere around, let's extend a little bit more here. All right, let's keep it straight. All right. So I'd say around 40,000 plus minus. I think 40,000 is really our pain threshold when it comes to downside corrections. We shouldn't drop much lower. If we drop below 40,000 in Bitcoin, things get a little bit iffy. Things might actually take a turn to the wild side, and we might actually correct much lower. Now, I'm just laying that out so you guys know where we're at. I'm not saying this is going to happen. The odds of this happening right now are still fairly low. I peg them at 20% or something, maybe 25 if I'm more pessimistic. But so far, this looks like a textbook correction to me. A retest, not a correction, a textbook retest. It bounced right back here, which is good, right? After it touched here, but we need to see it work its way back up higher here. We really do. We need to go back to like 48,000 and breach it. So let's see if we can get there with the next weekend. Before I let you go, a quick look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, right, also correcting, but seems to be stronger. In case you're unaware, we are actually in Ethereum right now with Cryptonaissance. So if you're not in the system yet, you might be interested in joining now. I think it's going to be off to the races here soon. So if we compare Ethereum with Bitcoin, that's always our reference, right? Well, it's actually steaming ahead. So we're actually gaining Bitcoin via Ethereum this week. And that's exactly the plan. That's what we do. We do it via Ethereum. We do it via altcoins. And when Bitcoin is a stronger coin, we hunker down. That's the system in really in a nutshell. And I think it's a simple system. It doesn't have to be complicated, right? If it works, don't change it, right? Don't muck with it. And it's been helping us on the way down because we were in Bitcoin, we were in a stronger coin, and it's helping us on the way up. Now that we're again in the stronger coin, right? And actually, we got in right here, by the way, in case you didn't know. That was really almost a perfect entry. I mean, yeah, there's just no way to peg it down here. I mean, you would have to be a genius. Maybe if you would have used a price pattern approach, right? But remember it's a cross, and yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's really the perfect way to do that, because you could have been easily fooled many times here. See, here as well, you could have been easily fooled. So I'm always very conservative when it comes to things like that. And the approach we're using just a cross, in Emacs, email crossing scheme, approach for this. And it seems to work just fine, obviously, right? So being Ethereum is the right coin to be right now. If you're holding out right now, if you're still waiting and seeing, got no quarrels about telling you, stay in this Ethereum is the strong coin right now, stay in there. And yeah, that's it. There's not really much to add, honestly. We can take another look at total, which is the entire crypto market. So, well, doing the same thing. I mean, there's really not much to add here. Also doing the retest. The sideways range is a little bit less pronounced here, but you can tell it's actually retesting the spike high right here from way back in like, what is that, early February. So let's see what it does. It's got to work its way up here, and that's really all there is to it. If we get trapped back down here again, it might get more painful. So let's keep our fingers crossed for a speedy resolution. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you guys.